Welcome to the Good Girls Society, the podcast where we, Jen and Sass, talk about all things bookish, lifestyle, and navigating life in your 30s. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at good.girls.pod, and be sure to follow us here on your streaming services so you can listen to our latest episodes.
On today's episode, we're discussing the standalone book from the Mortal Enemies to Monster Lovers series, Slaying the Shifter Prince by Clare Sager. But before we get into the book, how's life, Jen? Tell me what's been going on.
Life's been pretty good. It's slowed down, so I didn't have as many events as I did in May. So June has been pretty slow for me. And you know what? I'm not going to complain. I did have I had about 2 weeks there where I did a lot of things. And then after that, the rest of June and the beginning of July has been very calm for me. And I'm just going to take it. I'm going to take the relaxation and roll with it.
Oh, I love that.
I've been pretty good. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I've been good. I've started going back into fashion content, which is exciting. So it's kind of crazy.
That for you.
I never thought that I would go back into creating fashion content. I just didn't think that I would do it again. I kind of thought it was a bit of a laugh, but the past sort of month has reminded me that like my bookish account really is a hobby, but my fashion account is profitable. So I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, why am I not doing this in this economy? I kind of deserve to make a profit on things like fashion. And I feel like it's a really good time to sort of pick up again in the fashion world because a month from today when we're filming, I'm going to Europe. So there's going to be so much Europe content. It's going to be fucking wild. So I'm just really trying to find my feet again in the fashion world. I'm really looking forward to being creative on that side as well. While I'll still be doing bookish content, I think I'm going to kind of like slow down on the cosplay a bit and do just more like bookish content because I'm still a reader and I don't really focus on that part of my content. And I read a lot. And because like obviously we try quite hard to uplift queer authors. Like we do often do like a sapphic book. Unfortunately, this month is not going to be sapphic for us. It just didn't work out that way.
No.
But like, you know, we do have a focus on queer authors, and that's something that I'm really big on as well, is that I do read a lot of queer books and a lot of queer authors. So I think that's kind of where like my bookish content is sort of heading. Not that I'm going to completely give up on cosplay, but I think as well kind of want to get out of the mass verse for a bit. Focus on some other things that I'm passionate about. So yeah, that's my life's kind of like, you know, a bit topsy-turvy, but I love change. I love not being stagnant, and yeah, I'm trying new things.
I love that. Yeah, I've been definitely thinking about adding more bookish things into mine as well because that's where my Instagram started. Like my Instagram started where it was just books and cosplay, and I don't know if you remember, but I was very OCD about my feed where it was like a book, and then a cosplay, then a book, and a cosplay. And then I was like, you know what? I can't do that because I'm going to do collabs with people and they're going to post it on a day where I don't have a book to post. Like, and my feed's not going to go like so consistent and cohesive. So, I feel like when I gave that up, I haven't been posting as much bookish content. So I want to get back to that as well. And I definitely feel that.
Yeah, I miss your bookish
content. That's my plan
too. Yeah. I love it. Unintentionally twinning again.
Always. I feel like we're just always right there.
We are.
One brain cell.
Valid. Fair, valid, heard. I love it.
The best one was there's a little bit of delay on my side. So because I have a little bit of a delay, I said it's the one brain cell, and you're like, we are.
Oh, also, I should probably give everyone an update on my dating life. Because it's like
a thing. Oh my God, I meant to ask you and I completely forgot.
Okay,
Tell me everything.
Oops. So Spaghetti Girl and I are out.
No, we're not doing the Spaghetti Girl.
She just kind of got a bit boring, and then I forgot to reply to her for like a week, and then she unmatched me. But I'm also talking to two really beautiful women, like really beautiful, and like I don't know, like kind of like
I need pictures when we get off here. Just saying.
they're so dreamy. I was talking to Rochelle, like, because obviously me and my best friend, like, if I like talking to people, we're like, here, look at this person, and I showed her both of these girls, and she was like, oh yeah, they're beautiful, and I was like, I know. And now I'm like, it's like early days, but like both of them are really good at conversation. And one of them I've matched with her on like everything. And after like a week, I normally unmatch her because she bores me. But this time around, she's like sending me like paragraphs and they're like really entertaining and she's like really piquing my interest. And she is really beautiful. So I'm just like, girl, lock in. Like, I have to sort of like lock in, be like, let's go on a date, and then like get this done. I need to go on a date. And also it's such awkward timing because I'm going away for 5 weeks. So like I can't really commit to
Yeah.
someone. I don't want to commit to someone in that sort of sense because, I'm going to Europe. I'm gonna go to some gay bars, have some fun.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with dating. But surprisingly, I like deleted Bumble for ages because Bumble was really irritating me. But I'm
Yeah.
back on Bumble this time around. I'm having a lot of luck. So thanks, Bumble.
Nice. Little shout out to Bumble. I was always on Bumble, but I didn't like Bumble because I didn't like that I had to talk first. I wanted them to approach me first.
But you see, because there's two women, I don't have to talk first.
See, valid. That's valid. So,
Literally me every
okay.
time. Although for one of them, I did talk first. I was like, "You're really pretty." The
Oh,
other
I
one, the
love
one
it.
the one who I've matched with a few times, she reached out to me and I was like, okay, all right, you're serious. You do want to talk.
Love
Anyways,
that. Love that for you.
so that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not going to get an update until season 2. So a really good incentive to stay around for season 2 of Good Girls Pod.
Is to figure out what happens next.
It's not about the books anymore. It's about Sassa's really bad dating life.
Oh,
Anyways,
you know
moving
what?
on.
It's fine.
Let's get into the synopsis. So, like I really did copy and paste this from Goodreads, so I really am reading the actual synopsis. So it's going to be a bit
That's
cheesy,
fine.
and I'm going to ham it up a little bit. She was willing to sacrifice anything for revenge, but she thought she was only gambling with her life, not her heart. Aerial performer. Aerial performer Zita has dedicated 10 years of her life to one thing and wait, to one thing and one thing. That was good when he's giving me a fucking typo. Alright guys,
One thing and one thing.
and also one thing. Alright, let's start again. Aerial performer Zita has dedicated 10 years of her life to one thing and one thing only. Vengeance! Armed with an iron blade, she must take to the silks and give the performance of a lifetime to kill the notorious Prince of Monsters, the Fey Prince, responsible for her sister's death. I'm not finished, guys. It just keeps going. But when Zeta's plan fails, she finds herself imprisoned, sentenced to be the prince's and punishment for her crime. With cruelty as sharp as his claws, Sepher is everything Zeta expected from her enemy, yet he's also patient and obsessive, particularly when it comes to his pet's punishment. Nevertheless, Zeta refuses to surrender, not even to a Fey prince. Sepher may have collared her, but nothing can stop her from getting her revenge, not even at the cost of her heart. Full of claws, curses, and deadly games of cat and mouse, this twisted reimagining of Beauty and the Beast is perfect for fans of A Court of Thorns and Roses and The Cruel Prince. How'd I do?
Why do I? You did phenomenal, but why do I never put two and two together that these are Beauty and the Beast retelling?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I did not. I didn't put that together either. It's
But I
just
feel
too
like
many.
anytime that we read it, anytime we read a Beauty and the Beast retelling, you're like, it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I was like, no, it wasn't. Really?
No,
Every
fucking
time.
wasn't. Listen, I don't think it gave Beauty and the
Uh,
Beast like at all. I think because
I think it's the kid. It's the like holding them captive. Anything. I feel like anything that says like they're being held captive is automatically a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Like,
yeah,
which I just
and
find so funny.
the
Like
dude's
Stockholm
always like a
syndrome at its
beast.
finest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so true. So listen, I think we kind of spoke offline about this one, and I think we're gonna have quite polarizing views, which always makes for a spicy little episode, doesn't it? I personally
Definitely does.
really I personally really enjoy, like, I've only read 2 of the books in the Mortal Enemies to Monster Lovers series, but what I really like about this series is that a whole bunch of really awesome authors came together and thought, let's make standalone books from our universes that you can read by yourself, but will most likely suck you into the universe. Um,
Yeah.
I've read Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. Obviously, I'm a massive fan of Carissa Broadbent. I love all of her books, and Slaying the Vampire Conqueror was like a 5-star read for me. I loved that book. So I kind of knew that I was going to enjoy this. And also, I'm not sure if you follow them, but House of Fables, which is Sam, Celeste, and
Mm-hmm.
oh, what's their editor's name? I can't remember. That's really bad. But they have an editor as well. So it's a 3-woman Australian run team. So they
Yeah.
all reviewed Slaying the Shifter Prince last year. And I've had it on my
Okay.
TBR for so long, just based on their reviews of it. I was like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. So this has been like a highly anticipated book for me that I've really been needing to read.
Yeah. I thought it was okay.
Thanks, Jen.
You're welcome. That's my 2 cents. No, I went into it with higher hopes than I probably should have, which is a big flaw of mine. Like, I need to go, like, do what you do and go into these books, like, completely oblivious and,
Yeah.
like, nothing. And I don't know. I think I just had higher hopes for it than what it gave back, and it just kind of fell flat for me. But well, we can get into that soon because first, let's talk about the characters. So we have Zita. Zita is like so angry about everything all the time. She is out for blood and she is stubborn as fuck. And I'm gonna lie, not gonna lie, she pissed me off the whole book. The whole book.
I
And you
think
know
that's
what?
so funny.
Like, I get it. I understand revenge. I love a good revenge plot. Like, I just love it. But at one point, can we talk about something else? Like, I feel like she just kept going and going and going. And, like, yes, that was the point. The point was that she made her whole personality and her whole life based on this. And, like, obviously at the end of the book, we find out that, like, everything goes down. We'll talk about it later. But, like, I'm just like, give me something else. Because for me, it was just like, meh.
I, on the other hand, loved Zeta so much. I loved her determination. Um, I loved that she had put her whole fucking pussy into becoming this amazing aerial circus entertainer. Um, I feel like her character was just full of like female rage, which I am a big
Mm-hmm.
fan of, and I got a lot of that rage through her thought processes, which I really enjoyed. I felt like this book also had quite like a feminist lens over it.
It definitely
I
did,
think
yeah.
I think like from her sister's death came this like person who wasn't really living, and I think we can all kind of at some level understand like not really living for you and like not doing things for you. And I found that part of her really, really interesting. I really, really enjoyed her character because of that. Like she wasn't living for herself. She was living off of revenge. And it was so sad and it was obviously eating her alive.
Yeah.
I also just like loved how strict she was on herself. Like I think that's such an interesting thing about a character. You know, when someone's like really, really strict and have like a really like one path. Like I don't know, I love
Yeah.
that. Or maybe because I'm so different to that. Me being
Right.
strict on
And
myself.
maybe, no, I get that because maybe that's why I didn't really like it so much is that I felt like I couldn't connect and I couldn't
Yeah.
connect with any of the characters to the point where like I was just like, eh.
Yeah,
And
fair.
so I just think that's where we differ is that like I really need to like put myself in the book and like if I can't, then it's not going to be it for me. Where like you love that she was so different from you, you know.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, hmm. But then we get Sepher. He is a saber cat shifter with long red hair with highlights.
So cunty.
Do you have highlights?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he's got like little blonde bits in his hair.
God, awful. And
He's serving
he
cunt.
has long hair. I know he has long hair, but like I'm picturing like 2000s like frosted tips. Like that's what I'm picturing now that you said that. And I can't get that look out of my head, even though that's like not what he's got long hair, so it's clearly not what's going on in his head, but like that's all I'm picturing now. And he uses his tail.
He uses his
Think
tail.
about it. He does use his tail. So I'm just picturing I need you to go first because all I see is frosted tips. So
All
please.
right, so I fucking loved Sepher. I think it's probably because he is really camp, and I don't really like men, so maybe that's why I enjoy him because he's such like a
Okay.
campy, frosted tips kind of guy. Like he was so theatrical, and he was so intense, and like so much
Yeah.
that I really enjoyed him, and I think the characters together had like really good chemistry for me. I
Hmm.
also just like his his fucking vibe was insane. Like, you know, collaring her, making her crawl over broken glass, calling her pet it. Like
Yeah.
just the this was a bully romance with a male and a female that I actually really enjoyed. And maybe it's because I was able to take myself out of the situation because I was so far removed from Zita. I have nothing in common with her. So I just found it to be
Right.
like super entertaining. But I love that he was like cruel to me. Pet, little bird. Like
Yeah.
uh,
Obviously.
yeah. And I also loved his development. Like the fact that Zeta had cursed him, he was cursed to always show parts of his shifting vibe, his
Yeah.
Saber cat, sorry, Sepher, Saber, same thing. Um, like he was always forced to show that part of himself, which made him not as what's the word? Like we obviously have the Fae who can shift in and out of those forms, whereas he didn't have that ability,
Yeah.
which in turn made him a better person, made him a better Fae because of it.
Yeah.
Because he
I can
did
see
learn
that.
to accept himself, and I really enjoyed that part of it. Like he was like, I am who I am. If you don't like it, you can go and fuck yourself. So I really enjoyed his character from that perspective.
I love that. I will say that I did like him. So I will start there. I loved his attitude and I loved I say I don't like bully romances, but I'm like, bully me, like, please.
Right.
So like I love the crawl to me. I love the little bird. I love the collar and the pet and the dominance. And while I didn't, I guess, yeah, because he grew. I was gonna say, while I didn't really like his personality in the beginning, um, I loved that side to him. And then for me, when he submitted, I was like, nope, done. uh But I think that's just because I'm so submissive that, like, I don't want you to do that. I want you to continue to dominate me. Like, I don't, like, why are you on your, I'm not, no, I don't want that. So I think for me, like, I hated his personality because he was so mean to her in the beginning, but I
Yeah.
loved the dominance of him in the beginning. And then I liked his personality at the end because he grew, but I hated the submission part. So I'm like, I'm just all over the place with him. But overall, him as a character.
um I really enjoyed that. I agree with you on the submitting part. I feel like that's a very common theme in so many books where we do have these like hyper dominant males. There comes a point where they end up submitting, and I'm kind of like, does it need to be sexually that they submit? Like,
Right.
is that really a necessary
Exactly.
thing? And not, yeah, I also agree. I'm not really into that. Like when he submitted to her, I was kind of like, no, bring your tail out again and like choke her with it or something, you know,
Right.
slap her around.
And like, I agree. Like, you can submit to me in many different ways. Sexually should not be one of them,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's definitely a preference for us. You know, if someone was more of a switch,
Yeah,
potentially this would be way more for them. I think. Listen,
absolutely.
I I really enjoyed the characters, so I would probably rate this one like a 4 out of 5 for characters. I really liked them.
Yeah. I'm going to go with a 3 because I liked him, but I didn't like her.
Yeah,
So, and then there were some good side characters. Like, I really liked Celestina, right?
yeah, yeah,
That's her name. I really liked her. I even liked the villain. I thought he was pretty cool, like in the way that they like described him in the beginning versus at the end. Um, and who is it? I think he ended up killing him, but like the just like nasty one towards her the entire time, like the Fae that was like super, super
oh
nasty to her.
yeah, he was awful.
But I loved him because I'm like, you add so much spice to this. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah,
this scene would suck if you weren't here.
yeah,
Like,
that's so true.
um, so I will give it a 3 for characters because while I like only liked one half of the main characters, I did like a lot of the side characters. So
Yeah, I agree.
a
I love
3
the
for
side
me.
characters. It's a 3 for me, love.
A
Okay,
3 for me.
let's talk plot. So the premise of this book is that Zeta wants to get justice for her older sister's death. Um, and what she has assumed is that Sepher has killed her older sister because she found Sepher in, was it an alleyway or was it a tent? It was somewhere. She found Sepher over her
Somewhere like that.
sister's dead body, and Zeta is magical. Um, she part Fae or just
She is
magic.
part Fae. But let me tell you that like I didn't really even put two and two together with like her cursing ability until the end.
Yeah,
Like I felt
yeah,
like that was just kind of thrown in there for me.
yeah. Definitely wasn't like a clear part of the story, but basically
Yeah.
she curses Sepher to always have to show his Fae side. So, the more we read, the more glaringly obvious it is that Sepher did not unalive her sister. Like, just
Right.
from his morals and his moral compass, and the more you read, the more you're like, this seems odd. Like, she's hating someone
Yeah.
who just doesn't seem like morally they would do something like that. And my mind went to two places. My mind was like, he's either gotten better because of this curse and like it was his saving grace, or it wasn't him.
Right.
And in some ways I was kind of disappointed that like he didn't. Like I think it would have been a sick storyline, but also she probably would have never forgiven him. So
Right.
It's just kind of like, yeah, I think it would have been
Although I
such,
feel like she was. And I think that maybe that's something too that I didn't like is I felt like the opposite. Like I felt like she was forgiving him because she was
yeah,
falling in love with him. And even though like it was always that little side piece there, like in the back of her mind, like I feel like even if he did end up being the one to kill her, like through the process of the story, she was kind of getting over it.
yeah, she was.
And
And
then
it
when
would have,
she realized, good,
oh no, I was just gonna say, it just would have made for a better storyline, I think.
yeah. And I feel like once she found, it was almost like she was forgetting it and she was moving on. And then, like, once she found out that it wasn't him, it was someone else, it was like that ramped back up again. And I was like, oh, come
Yeah.
on. We were so close.
Let it go, girl.
Yeah,
Um,
basically.
so like it does come to a head, which I really liked that that wasn't the ending. It wasn't like I didn't kill her, the end. Like it was no, I didn't kill
Right.
her like 60% of the way through, and then the story turns into a whodunit. So I really enjoyed that part of it, like the murder mystery and like inviting all of
Hmm.
those, Fae over to his, falling apart castle, his
Yeah.
falling apart palace.
Yeah. I wish that that was fleshed out more because I liked the whodunit aspect of it.
Mm,
Um, but I felt like it was just kind of, again, just like thrown in there at the end. Like, it's not him, so let's figure out who it is. But now we're in the last like 20% of the book, and I'm like, that's it? Like, I would have loved more scenes where like they were trying to figure it out together before the big finale.
yeah.
Because I felt like it just kind of went from like, it's not me to this giant orchestrated plan. And you're like, how did we get here though? Like,
Mm,
I need more in between
yeah.
for me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So fair. Um, yeah, no, you're right. I feel like a lot of the reason I was spurred on by this book and like kept reading and kept like I read this really quickly. Like I devoured this book.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I feel like a big part of that was like the spice aspect. It wasn't so much like the plot line. Oops.
Right.
Because there was such
And
amazing
there's nothing
spice in this
wrong with
book.
that though.
Yeah, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So like I probably would rate the plot like I'm gonna say like a 3 out of 5. It wasn't like the plot wasn't
Yeah.
plotting.
Yeah. I'm like a 2.5. Like it
Okay.
wasn't, I feel like the same thing. Like I was driven by the spice of this, but like the plot for me, it kind of fell flat. So I'm going to go with a 2.5.
Yeah, fair, valid.
But speaking of the spice, we get lots of hate sex in this book. And I love a good hate sex and I love a good makeup sex. So like you give me those in a story and I love it. I will like feed for it. So I did
Mhm.
like that part of it. We get degradation. We get the Dom sub dynamic with the switch. And we get so much good girl energy, which we are the good girl society. So we love good girls.
My favorite.
But yeah.
I feel like there was a lot of public humiliation as well,
Oh
which
yeah.
I didn't know if I would like because I've read like dark romances where there's humiliation and I'm like I'm not enjoying this, but
Yeah.
maybe it was the campy aspect, the fact that he's got those frosted tips just did it for me. The way like the way he would like make her do these awful things like crawl over the jewels so her knees are fucking
Yeah.
bleeding, um making her wear like the shortest dresses with nothing underneath and like serving everyone, like that was so hot.
Hmm.
Making her go and do her
Yeah.
silks performance naked in front of an entire crowd and she's like, why not? Spread eagle.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, like, she was doing a lot of prostitution before even coming to Sepher, so I don't think her body was really like she didn't really think of it as being as humiliating as maybe the normal person would. so it was more
Right.
forgivable for her.
I feel like with that aspect of it, like I kind of wanted it to be more humiliating. Like I loved that she was like, I'm going to do this just to piss you off. Like I love that. Give me a good brat energy any day. But I just, again, if I wanted that like little bit more that I didn't get. And
Yeah.
for me, if you're going to publicly humiliate me, share me, share me. Why did nobody else at that table get a
Because
little piece of the
he
action?
didn't
Because you
want
were
it
so
to.
obsessive. I
Yeah.
know, I know.
He was like so
I
into
wish
her.
that if you were going to do that and you were going to humiliate me publicly, you need to humiliate me publicly. Like, I just
Yeah.
felt like it was like here when I wanted it to be like here.
Yeah.
So it was like just every time I'm like, okay, here it is, and it's not. And so with that aspect, I was like, meh. The sex aspect, I was like, okay, I can get down with this. Like when they started having sex and they started doing that, I was like, okay, I'm here for this. I can do this. I'm here for this. So I wish with the out of bedroom scenes, the out of the sex scenes, there was just a tiny bit more
Yeah.
in regards to spice.
Yeah. Fair. I will say, absolutely loved the use of his tail. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Putting it in her
Always,
butt.
always
Like,
fantastic.
that's
Mm-hmm.
great. Do that a little bit more.
And like the teasing right before, I'm like, okay, here we go, here we go.
Here we go. Yeah, so that was one thing I hated about the Cruel Prince. I was like, missed opportunity, babes. Carden's got a
Well,
tail.
it was young adult though.
I know. And I was like, girl, you should have made this a fucking new adult. It would have
Yeah,
popped off. But then I felt like I got it in this book. I felt like I got a lot of things that I
yeah.
didn't get from The Cruel Prince in this book, like a bully
It's
romance where people actually book.
yeah, it's definitely like a adult version of the Cruel Prince in that aspect, 100%.
100%. Yeah, with that bully romance
Storyline, no.
situation.
This,
Yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm.
One thing that I really like about these books is that they are set in these authors' universes. So while Slaying the Shifter Prince is quite spicy, the Sagerverse isn't. So A Kiss of Iron, I haven't read it, but from what I've seen, A Kiss of Iron is a lot less spicy than these books. So for anyone out
Mm-hmm.
there
It
who
is.
like
I've read
has,
that one.
oh, and is A Kiss of Iron less spicy?
Than this, yeah.
Yeah.
Not in general, I don't. See, I read it so long ago that I'm like, I have to go back and look at my ratings for it. Hold on. 4 out of 5 stars.
Oh,
So I give it
that's good.
4.
Nice.
But there was a Shadow Daddy, so there's that too.
I love a Shadow Daddy.
I said, do you want to know my review? I actually wrote one.
Yeah, go on.
I said, Shadow Daddy, in all caps. Yes, please. Overall, I really liked this book. I would like to point out that I read this in October. So October 12th, 2023 was when I reviewed this book.
Mm-hmm.
I said, overall, I really liked this book. It had a lot of my favorite tropes, such as the enemies to lovers, slow burn romance, fake dating, and more. Kat is a noblewoman who goes to spy on Bastian, who's the Night Queen's shadow. If you love Shadow, well, I wrote live because apparently I don't spell check my reviews. If you love Shadow Daddies like me, you'll love him. The smut was awesome, and I cannot wait to read the second book to see where it goes from here. So I feel like it was still pretty smutty, but I don't see. I just can't remember if it was like on the same level as this one.
Mm.
I feel like that October, like that's just.
That's a long time ago. I can't remember anything that I read
know.
past like 2 days ago, apparently.
Well, I mean, and think about it. How many books did I read last year? And then this year I'm already on, I don't even know how many books this year. 34. So
That's
I've read
hectic.
a lot of books since then.
Yeah, you're wild. I don't know how many I've read. I don't really keep count. Is that bad?
Well, I just have Goodreads, so Goodreads keeps count for me.
But my Goodreads shows me like last year's as well. I'm like, guys, can you not?
So if you join the the 2024 reading challenge, it tells you how many.
Oh, see, I don't do that. Probably because I'm like, I don't set myself a goal because it stresses me out. That's why I've never done it because I'm like, nah, I want to be stressed out about reading. It's my hobby. But I also understand that for some people that's really fun. So I'm not yucking anyone's yum. You guys do what you want.
Yeah, for me, I love it. I love a good challenge. But you could always set it at like, and it'll still keep track for you. Like it'll tell you how many books you've read over your like goal of 20 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you could set it as like even 5.
Yeah.
And then that way it'll still tell you, once you click it, it'll
Mm.
still tell you all the books you read this year.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. Everyone's gonna be like, Sass, what the fuck? That reading goal's pathetic. I'll be like, it's not for you. Shut up.
It's not for you, it's for me.
I
But
reckon I'm gonna get so
okay.
much reading done on this holiday.
I'm so excited for you. I can't wait. I need all the recs too.
I'm so excited. All right. Well, listen, I love the spice. I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
I'm gonna give it, yeah, I'll say it's up there. I love the spice in the book. I'm gonna give it a 4 just because I love tension.
Yeah.
But you know what? We didn't talk about this, and I did write this in my notes. They talk about the table all the time.
Yeah. And you do love a
I was waiting
table.
for you to bring, I was gonna say, I was waiting for you to bring up the table because I was like, you know how much I love a table. And so I did appreciate how much they talk about the table. And there was a scene, oh, I was looking for my phone, which is clearly in front of my face. Um, I didn't put the whole quote, but I put imagining me on a dining table question mark because when she first was like trying to like masturbate in his bed and like get him to not wake up, literally his quote was, "Are you imagining me on the dining table?" And I'm like,
You
yes.
loved it.
I loved
That's a
it.
table kink. I'm telling you. We gotta
I know.
get
I
you.
really need to, between season 1 and season 2, my goal is to look up what it means to have a table game.
It's probably some food fetish.
Probably. It's probably on that level. I'm going to go down like the rabbit hole of a table kink, I swear to God.
I love that.
Anyway,
Moving on to the pace. Um, I feel like the pace of this book was really based on the smart for me. Like, it was driven by what was going to happen next in regards to how they were going to fuck. And to be honest with you, like, that nothing was pushing me forward besides that. Like, I didn't really care if Zeta found her sister's killer. It didn't bother me. There were points, like there were so many little romantic points that I loved. Like I really enjoyed how Sepher cared for her and how he showed that he cared, like through giving her like art supplies and stuff. And
the art supplies, yeah.
like that was really sweet, and I enjoyed that. So I feel like like if you're looking for like some amazing, crazy plot line that's gonna be paced really well, I don't think that this is that book. It's like a side quest to the Kiss of Iron Sagerverse. So like I don't really think that's what we're here for. It's more about SMUT. So I
Right.
guess like for me, I probably would rate the pacing like I don't know, like a 3. I still got through it and I still didn't have any issues. I didn't put the book down, but it wasn't like fantastic.
Yeah. I agree with you on like it was very smut driven. And I think that if it didn't have all the spice and the smut, then I wouldn't have liked it like at all.
Mm,
Um, so for me, like I just like I said, she drove me nuts at the fact that like I'm like, come on, I'm trying to enjoy this. Trying to
mm.
enjoy this sex scene and you're over here like with your back of my mind, he killed my sister over and over. Like just have fun. Have sex,
Have a
please.
little fun, girl.
So for
Get over
me,
it.
I'm gonna say that the pace is still the same, like a 2. Like
Yeah.
and I think it's only because there really was no like story for me. And I just like, with her, I'm just like, you're killing it. Like, this is really great. And I'm here. And then you're like, I'm like, again, here we go again.
Not again.
But that was part of her character. So, right. Like, it's part of her character. So what am I going to do? I can't. It's who she
Yeah,
was.
fair. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. She just wasn't for you, and that's okay. That's all good.
yeah.
It's fine. All right.
Again, I need to feel myself and put myself in there.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't.
Think that's so valid. That's so fair. Listen, for me, like overall ratings, I loved this book. It was smutty, it was silly, it was camp, it was just a bit it's just funny. Like fucking her ass with his tail was just so funny to me. Like it was enjoyable, it was entertaining. So for me, like an overall rating, I'm probably gonna give this one like a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. It's my kind of book. I love something that isn't too serious. Especially when you've been in between a lot of serious books. It was quite nice to break up my reading schedule, and it really made me want to read the Sagerverse, basically. So that's how I feel about it.
Good. Well, I'm glad. For me, it's gonna be a 3 out of 5 as well, actually. Or no, that's not what you said. You did not rate it a 3. Rewind. For me, it's gonna be a 3 out of 5. The sex was really what kept me going. Other than that, it would have been a DNF for me. But I think because the sex was so good, I did like him and how dominant he was in the beginning. That hooked me to continue more. But just overall, it wasn't really a book for me, but I can see how it is a book for a lot of other people. So it's going to be a 3 out of 5 for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this week's podcast. Again, make sure you follow our socials and keep up on book club in time for these deep dives. We love having a chat in our comments, so feel free to reach out. This is the last episode of season 1 of Good Girls, which is bittersweet because it obviously means we've done a full season, which is so exciting. I just want to say very publicly, thank you, Jen, for all the hard work that you put into this podcast. So if you guys don't know, Jen does all of the editing. She's like really the person who keeps this podcast moving. So I just want to say to you, thank you so much for all the effort you put in. I'm so proud of what we've achieved for like 2024, and I'm so excited to come back after my holiday and smash out some more amazing episodes. So thank you, Jen. Thank you so much.
Wait a minute. While we're doing this, I also want to thank you because you do most of our social media. Like, we probably wouldn't have a social media presence if it wasn't for you. So while I do the editing on the podcast episodes themselves, you do most of the social media, if not all of it. So I give you all the props for that. And I love you. Thanks for doing this with me. Thanks for doing season 1.
Yay. Well, we can't wait to see you guys for season 2, and we look forward to bringing you some really fun and exciting content. So thank you guys. Love you so much. Thank you for listening.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.